Hi, everybody. This is Steve Maggi from SMA Law Firm. Welcome to Building the Bridge. I have the honor of having as my guest today Michael Soon Lee, real estate broker extraordinaire and author based in California. Hi, Michael.
Hey, Steve. Good morning.
So great to have you. We both work with international clients, and what I would like to ask is, what is the biggest challenge or challenges that you see for foreigners doing business in the U.S.?
Well, Steve, I think it's just understanding the American mindset, which is very different, to people around the world. I travel internationally all the time, as I know you do,
Hmm.
but it's a different world. For example, negotiating. In America, people tend not to negotiate very much. There's only two things that Americans negotiate on regularly: cars and houses. And
Okay.
if you come from a negotiating culture, it boggles your mind. Why don't they want to negotiate? Well, in America, time is money. And so they don't want to spend time haggling back and forth. The price is the price. You walk into a store, you see the price, you pay it. You don't waste time negotiating. Whereas I know in China, in Mexico, and in a lot of other places, you walk into a store, you see something, you say, well, I like it, but it's too much. And then you begin the negotiation.
Right.
And what they're trying to do is build a relationship. They're trying to get you to know you a little bit better by that haggling process. And in America, they don't do that. It's just very transactional. I see it, I like it, I buy it. We're done. And
And I
that's
would
just
imagine
one,
if
yeah,
you
that's
impose
just
your
one
culture
example.
that way, right? If you impose your love for haggling and from bargaining into a real estate venture, most of the time you're going to end up on the street, or you're not going to be able to make that purchase because somebody else will just step in, no nonsense, and say, here's the money, here's the offer, and you're left out in the cold, right?
Well, it depends on what kind of market you're in. If it's a seller's market, yeah, someone's going to walk in and get in there ahead of you. But if it's a buyer's market where there's, more properties than buyers and there's negotiating going on, someone from a negotiating culture could really get a good deal in America because, again, Americans are not very much used to negotiating.
Right.
And so someone who's a good negotiator who negotiates all day long can get a great deal. So
Right.
just first of all, though, you've got to understand the market. So work with a good real estate broker who knows what's going on in terms of, the real estate market and how much negotiating is available at any particular point in time.
And with the law, we always say you should never represent yourself, right? That's certainly true in real estate as well, right? If you're from Japan, let's say, and you see a property listed in California online, the last thing you should do is to try to negotiate not only with your cultural mindset, but without a representative locally to help you, right?
Yeah, because in the United States, there usually is a listing agent, a seller's agent who represents the seller. Now, if you're a buyer, you could go directly to that agent and start the negotiation process, but please remember that that broker represents the seller, and by law and by contract, they're supposed to protect the interests of the seller. So, like you say, I mean, and I know you've heard this before, but if you do that, that's like suing somebody and then asking their attorney to represent you. Not very wise. And in the United States, generally, the seller pays the commission to both parties. And so in America, you get an agent to represent you as a buyer at virtually no cost because the seller's generally paying that cost. So it would be very wise to get your own agent to represent you. And the price is very low.
Yeah, what I've seen from a legal perspective is that a lot of people come from civil law countries where the law is federal. They don't understand that in the US, everything changes state by state, even by municipality or by locality. And I think that would also apply to real estate, right? You really need to work with someone who's hyper local, who really understands that local market.
Yeah, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and San Francisco has its own contract forms. They
Mm.
have their own unique laws. That's why people that are outside of San Francisco, they don't want to do business in San Francisco. As a broker for 40 years, I still hired an agent in San Francisco to sell my property in that city because it is so unique. So do get a local expert to help you. I think that's very wise, Steve.
That's great to know. So I guess when somebody contacts you and says, do you know someone, my cousin worked with you, do you know someone who's in San Bernardino County? You would look for somebody there that you trust to assist them there, correct?
Exactly. I mean, that's just the smartest thing to do, is find somebody who knows that particular market, because the markets are very unique. Right now, San Francisco is different. Berkeley is different. Oakland is different.
Right.
Throughout California, we've got these hyper local markets, and you need an expert in that particular market.
That's great to know. So if Foreign National finds your information, or they just want a local point person for that part of California or California in general, you're so connected all over the US as well. If they want to ask you questions so they can avoid these mistakes and not miss out on one of these properties that they're interested in, how do they get in touch with you?
Well, actually, it's very simple, Steve. My email is simply the number 88mlee@gmail.com. 88mlee, because eights are lucky in the Asian culture. 88mlee@gmail.com. And if I don't know somebody in that area, I'll find them somebody, but I want to make sure that they're served well and competently.
Thank you so much for your time and for your knowledge, Michael. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, Steve.